I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Welcome everybody to a very special Friday night episode with your favorite wrestling podcast. That's all AEW topics for the most part. Tonight, I am joined by the Simon Miller of the All Elite Zone podcast. I have everybody's favorite ginger, Emily.
Hello.
What's up, girl? Good to see you, girl. We missed you.
Good to see y'all.
Next, we have everybody's favorite wrestling Mark. He is the up-and-comer. He is the legend himself, Marky Mark.
What's up, y'all?
It's good to see you, G. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I'm excited about this review episode. It's pretty fun. I haven't done one of these, so
yeah. We used to do them like after every Dynamite until Talking Elite kind of took that over. But we'll get into this more later. But man, Wednesday's show was awesome, so I cannot wait to discuss it with you guys. But before we do that, I have to introduce you guys to everybody's favorite podcast producer. He is the mastermind behind the circus. He is the legend himself, everybody's favorite Connor.
Great to be on. You said the circus, yeah. 2 days I felt it. I'm raising the circus. Yes, it's great to be on. I thought that night was really good. So,
yeah. Well, man. It's been awesome. It's been a lot of fun last couple of days to talk AEW. Like I really feel like we had a shift. So tonight we're doing a whole review on AEW Dynamite from the 11:08 show at time of recording. And wow, like I feel like the seeds that were planted in that show.
Yeah.
And things are happening towards full gear. I'm invested again back in AEW, like fully. Connor, Mark, and Emily, what was your thoughts coming out of that show?
Man, there's just so many good storylines going. I think that's one of the things that I love about what's happening right now is, it used to sort of feel like, there was this time in wrestling where there were feuds and you could only talk to like the other guy you were in a feud with. But I feel like AEW's really broken out of that. Like the Daniel Garcia match with MJF right off the bat. Like MJF is facing everybody and anybody. You've got Darby and Sting who are facing several different opponents. It feels like we're getting back into this older school time of wrestling where you can face other people outside of your own little feud. You can have a main feud, but like there's other stuff going on that makes it so much more intriguing, and that carried through the whole show.
I can see where you're going with that because if you look at it, there's so many like parts to MJF right now. I feel like he's got 3 or 4 different feuds going on. He's got the main story with the devil, character. There's a lot going on with Max, and he has become everybody's favorite scumbag. I think last night, especially with his promo, before the match, and then having him really finish the show off, like I feel like they did a good job of evolving, different people into MJF's, arc. I feel like they did almost a better version of the Bloodline last night, or not last night, but Wednesday night. I really feel like there were so many moving parts and stories, and I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen. Mark, what was your thoughts on everything happening with MJF on Wednesday?
Kind of what bouncing off what Emily said. I mean, this episode set up the storylines, the feuds that are going on. You got the backstage stuff with the Young Bucks and Jericho and Omega. That's another thing that's going on. And, of course, you got the Swerve Hangman stuff. I mean, and then the Swerve and Penta match was awesome. The Samoa Joe match and Keith Lee match was awesome. I mean, the show was it was hitting on all cylinders. We kind of talked about it off camera, how we just had a couple of squash matches that I had forgot about. But other than that, it was a really good episode. Like Emily said, I feel like AEW is kind of hitting a stride and setting that setting us up for a good pay per view at Full Gear.
Yeah, it's exciting. And before I get to Michael's question in the comments, Connor, I know you've had you've had your critiques as of late with AEW, and have had a lot of frustration with the content that you're trying to enjoy. What was your thoughts about Wednesday's show?
I thought it was a pretty good show. Wasn't the best, wasn't the worst. I thought it was a good build up to Full Gear, which they kind of lacked. I feel like in pay per views, building up pay per views. This year at least, I would say only All Out was the worst build up to pay per view, and maybe Double or Nothing this year. But everything's hit spot on for this one. MJF and Jay White, they constantly built that every week, and the match with Max and Garcia was really a warm up match for Max, but also put on a really good match between the two, and kind of like two feuds basically in the one, like Daniel Garcia's 2.0, like whatever they're doing there, and then you got MJF's stuff colliding just for a few minutes, really. I thought that episode was really good. My favorite match was, and still is, Jay White and Pentagon. That match was something else. That was crazy. I thought someone was going to break their neck for a minute. But it was a really good match. Yeah, I think, and also the women actually had a really good match as well. I thought the crowd was very into that match.
Well, I think going real quick with the women's match, one we'll talk more here shortly on that, but it was so nice to see Red Velvet last night. Even though she lost, I feel like she got over with the crowd, the sympathy. It almost reminds me of New Japan books wrestlers when they come back from injury. Like, you have to work your way back up, and sometimes, unfortunately, you're going to lose, especially when you come back off an injury. But I think there's going to be a lot of nuance with her story. It's something going to happen with her and Sky Blue and Julia Hart. There's a lot to unpack from last night. So before we get into that, I want to say thank you, everybody in the comment section, for coming out. Leave a comment down below on any questions you might have as we are going through our discussion. Michael, I was going to say this question for last, but you are one of my favorite people that listens day in, day out. So I'm going to ask it for you, brother. We appreciate you. Who do you guys think is under that mask? A lot of speculation on who it could be. So I'm going to start off with Connor. Connor, who do you think, or the people behind the mask, who do you think is playing the devil and his goons?
I can tell you who I hope it not is Jack Perry. I feel like that would be the closing book to that story. Like, go ahead and stop the feud. Like, just go do something else. But the person who I want it to be is this person right here. His name's Phil Brooks. You might know him. He was.
I don't know him at all. Who?
He was the actual devil. MJF kind of copied the character. But
the most controversial wrestler right now.
I'm going with two people, either CM Punk or Adam Cole. Or it could be Britt Baker, that's been kind of talked about. Her helping Adam Cole, or I don't know how that would work, but also Kyle O'Reilly. But I'm going CM Punk.
I dig it, man. I would love for it to be CM Punk, because I feel like you could literally shock the wrestling world right now.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of people are thinking it could be, but I'm not going to get my hopes up on that one. Just because I don't want to ruin the storyline for what's going forward.
As long as it's not Jack Perry, we're good.
I will disagree with you on that, though, because Jack Perry right now is the biggest heel in professional wrestling, because he basically got the biggest name fired. He's going to have so much heat when he comes back.
I don't
know, Tony. I would love to see it, but I feel like, but with like a lot of fans are probably in the same boat as you are, where they would drop off from AEW even more. And Tony right now cannot afford to lose some of the people just because of Jack Perry. Love Jack. He's one of my favorite, wrestlers that's been in AEW since day one. But I would love to see him do the devil mask, but AEW wise, I don't think that's going to happen. Mark, what about you? Who do you think is under the mask?
I mean, it's all those people. But if I had to say like legit, who do I truly fully believe? I think it's Kyle O'Reilly. I deep down believe it's Kyle O'Reilly. Anybody other than that, I'll be surprised. I just don't see how it could be Adam Cole if he's on crutches and probably has a cast on. He'd have to be limping around. And you would notice that. I mean, somebody would have noticed that backstage. I think somebody would have been like, "Oh, there was a limp on the devil." It has to be Adam Cole. But at one point, there was two different people under that mask. One of them did have like a smaller figure type of body, and then the next thing you know, the body figure was a little bit more massive. So you could tell it looked like it went from a woman to a guy. So at that sense, it could be Britt Baker. If there was a woman involved, Britt hasn't been doing anything, right? So she could be involved there somehow, some way. But yeah, for me, deep down, I believe it's Kyle O'Reilly.
I think it's before we get to Emily's prediction, and why I can see it could be Britt Baker and Adam Cole, because I have a theory that we're going to see a undisputed like era in AEW. I think Adam Cole is going to have a faction. I don't think he's hurt. I think he's playing us. I think he's playing into MJF. I really think that he's faking his injury. And that's what I've been thinking. It could be Adam Cole under that mask.
I didn't really think about that.
What does the devil always say? Greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making you people believe he didn't exist. That would be the perfect way. No.
Yeah. Because think about it. You had his goons. He's friends with the Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kingdom has been dropping hits too. You have Kyle O'Reilly that's coming back. You have, there's a lot to play with that. Emily, before we move on to the first match of the night, what is your thoughts on who is beneath the mask? Who do you think it's going to be? Or people?
I was going to say, I actually think it's more than one person. I totally agree with Marky Mark there that I think it is more than one person, and I think they're gearing up for an Undisputed Era takeover. I think that's how Britt Baker comes into the picture. Either Adam Cole is really injured, and that's the reason why she stepped in and did the mask for one time around. Then it was Kyle O'Reilly. And then, in theory, you could always say, then, like, the final time we see him, it's Adam Cole because he's either healed, or to your point, if he's not actually injured, then it was him one of the times. But I think that's going to be kind of one of the bigger tricks to this. Is I don't know that it's one person. I think everybody's placing their money on like, oh, it's him, and it's like, I don't know about that because I agree with you. You can clearly notice there's like a very different size.
Right.
Originally, I thought it was Britt Baker 100%, like just her. And then you see the other figure, and I'm like, it's definitely not Britt Baker's body. Like, girl, I worship her on like Instagram and her fashion. So I know that body type, and that is not her body.
You see, the thing that they can do is like they can put anyone in the mask until it's time to unveil. They can just put anyone until it's time to take off the mask.
It was me all along.
Yeah, I know. Vince or Tony Khan, I would be legit mad. Okay,
dude. If it was, Tony. Well, I don't think people would love Tony for that. It's like I said, Tony's already got a bad relation right now with the fans. Let's not make it worse.
That's one of the things I always struggle with because I love the man, and like,
yes,
I would totally be on that same team where I would laugh and make the most of it and be like, "You do your thing, Tony Khan." Like you.
I'm on Team Emily on that one because I still love Tony.
I love it. I just don't want to
do it wrong. He has made mistakes, and I will give the man mistakes. And we could do a whole podcast on some of the mistakes that he's made, and the main mistake that he's made that a lot of fans have turned his back on him for. Jessie, she thinks it's going to be CM Punk.
That would be. Can we just talk a moment about how cool? Like, that would be probably one of the greatest twists of all time ever done in wrestling.
It would be, yeah,
like, for sure.
I to your point, like I want, like if that happened, like because it kills me every time I see something about Punk potentially in Survivor Series. just because I feel like he's such a better fit for AEW. So like I was devastated when he was gone, but like I'm like terrified to get my hopes up. But if that was CM Punk, I think we would have to give them a standing ovation for what they've pulled. I hope they do that. That would be amazing if they did that.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, it would be like the biggest shock of modern wrestling.
I would probably cry happy tears just because I'd be like, "Oh, you worked me so good," but I'm
Oh,
so happy.
don't worry, we all would be crying happy tears if that's the case.
Hey, you guys remember that fan at the you know when CM Punk came back like at
Yes.
Pro Rampage
Yes.
and the fan like that would be redone again, probably. Like that would be redone.
For sure. All right, so I want to talk. This is probably one of my favorite parts of the night to start the show off hot. You know, you have MJF and Daniel Garcia. Great promo from MJF at the start. The whole thing is asking Daniel Garcia, "Are you a professional wrestler or are you a sports entertainer?" And that line when he said that to Daddy Magic, I lost it. But I loved I feel like they were planting seeds a little bit with that match and especially after the sportsmanship match with the whole handshake and them stopping him. I feel like Daniel Garcia is going to get back to his roots of being a professional wrestler. So real quick, what was your guys' thoughts on the promo at the start, the match itself? Do you guys think that he built up Daniel Garcia? He might not be all the way up to MJF's level right now, but do you think that he built him up more than he has been last few months? What's your guys' thoughts on everything that happened with that first match and segment last night?
I thought the opening was really good. I like every time Adam Cole like he always hangs up on Roderick Strong and everything. Like I like how they still involve him in some capacity. If he is injured, if he's not, whatever's going on. The match was really good between Max and Garcia. That was back and forth, good technical. It basically had every little style of wrestling there. It wasn't very good, very good pace. I do think it shifted Garcia a little bit because he hasn't been doing really much of singles in a long time. I believe he said it was like 8 months or something that he hasn't wrestled a singles match. So yeah, it definitely shifted. You know, him as a single star, and he wanted to shake MJF's hand, but just went over and let him. So it's kind of a hint like what's to come in the future. So I hope to see Garcia singles more in AEW.
For sure. Like, I've always loved Garcia. Ever since he's came in, like, I've always loved his style, the way that he works. It's smooth, it's tight. I would put him on the same level as a Ricky Starks or a Sammy Guevara. When it comes to their personality, they got that. They have great character where they can shift and change into what's needed. So I'm right there with you, Connor. Marky Mark and Emily, what was your thoughts watching that back last night?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I love the way they started it out. When they start out like that, I love those backstage segments to start out the show. And then the way it led up into the match was really cool. And I gotta agree with you on the sports entertainer. I won't even try to say it the way you said it, because that was pretty good. But I mean, I was telling you that I was rewatching a Dynamite, and I was doing something on my phone, and I heard him say it, and I said, "Was that MJF that said that, or was that Daddy Magic?" Because it sounded exactly the same. I was like, that. I had to I had to go back and was like, "Holy crap, he delivered that like perfect." And I'm telling you, I'm the same way. I was howling at that. That was hilarious. And then Roddy coming in yelling Adam, and then like Connor said, him just hanging up on him.
Yeah,
that was hilarious crap. Those backstage segments are really good. I mean, those are pretty good. And then leading up into the match, man, the match was good. I felt like MJF. I would have wanted it to go on maybe a few minutes longer. Just towards that ending there, where Garcia had him in, that sharpshooter, and then MJF turned over, gave him the salt of the earth, and then he tapped out. I would have wished that would have went on a little bit longer after that, like maybe another couple of minutes. But other than that, I thought it was a good match, and I feel like with MJF coming out and trying to give him the handshake, I believe that is kind of setting up Daniel Garcia, when they take him away, it's pushing him more and more to separate them. Yeah, and I really want that push for Daniel Garcia because I think he can definitely do some single stuff by himself. I mean, I could see him, fighting for that international belt, against Orange at Revolution. I think that would be cool. They can have something there. Because I think I do kind of see him as like that fifth pillar.
I agree. I feel like especially last year, like his character work has gone way better. I will have to admit that with him being with Jericho, I feel like that was one of the best things of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now it's time you put the nail in the coffin and you split from 2.0. And I think 2.0 needs to start going into their own too. Because I really believe 2.0 could be tag team champions one day.
Yeah.
They're that good. Emily, what was your thoughts on everything? Like, was there a lot to unpack for you during this, or was it just kind of straightforward for you?
It felt like there was quite a bit to unpack because I think most recently I've just read different blogs and stuff that talk a lot about how Mac backstage has just really adopted this kind of like mentor mentality, and in a lot of ways I think he's so good at what he does that he's in a place right now in his career where he makes other people look really good too. Like he can really help bring people to the spotlight, and I think he does that when he knows they're really good and he brings out like the best in them to make them shine. And I think it's been really cool watching him like use that sway that he has and his very very versatile style really of wrestling. Like he can go old school, he can do the flips and tricks, but he works so well with any opponent that you give him that it always makes the other person shine. Like I've always felt like that was like a Bret Hart trait. Like he was so good at making his opponents always feel safe and good, but also making them look great. And Daniel Garcia has just, I feel like, grown by leaps and bounds this year. And I was so like squealing happy when he responded. He's like, "Tonight you get the professional wrestler." I was like, "Oh shit, it gets real." But like, it just, the whole thing, it was like, I feel like it just shows like how Max as a person has evolved, where he is, but he's also like using his pull and sway on these shows now to kind of spotlight some of the other talent, which I think is awesome. So I just thought it was such a great opener to the show. I love seeing him pull the old school stuff out too with the moves. It's just such a great way to start the show off with a bang.
I think one of the most underrated points last night, I'm hoping that he does this in a match, is he went for what's Adam Cole's finisher?
The Panama Sunrise?
Panama Sunrise, yes. He went to hit that last night, so I bet we see that in Full Gear.
I hope so.
He can fly. He can fly. He can die. He just doesn't do it because of the way that he wrestles. He's a very smart individual. Ethan, Ethan thought the match was good. Glad he thought so, man. It was one of the ones that I really thought was one of the best parts of the night. I'd say top 3. I'd say probably number 3. Garcia would be champ one day. I hope so. Next, I'm actually going to pose a question that came from our dear Marky Mark.
No.
Yeah, so we were talking off air and kind of talked a little bit also in the intro of our podcast. Was there too many squash matches last night? So I'm going to have Mark take over on this one before we start talking about Darby and Sting versus the Outrunners. So what was your thought? Do you think 2 squash matches was too much? What was your thoughts going into that?
Yeah, I mean, so we were talking about it, and I was telling you that I totally forgot that Sting and Darby had wrestled because that match went by so quick. And I was rewatching. I was like, damn! I was like, Sting and Darby actually wrestled. I was like, I totally forgot because it was a freaking squash match, and then we had the other squash match with the Ass Boys. Which they put on a little segment. They said some stuff, they called out MJF again, which was, that was okay in itself. But man, I was not, I don't know. The Sting Darby thing just caught me totally off guard. Like rewatching it, I was like, are we really in this of, seeing Sting and Darby in squash matches now? Is that what we're doing now on the show? Like I want to see these guys like, take advantage of, the little time that we do have with Sting, and in some some decent matches. I mean, a squash match, every once in a while is okay. So at this point, I'll let this one slide, but I don't want to see that anymore.
Well, if you look at too, like I was actually really impressed with the Outrunners last night. For being basically jobbing out to Sting and Darby.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job at their selling, their storytelling, just those little glimpses of stuff they did last night during that squash match. For me, it didn't feel like a normal squash match. Shout out to the Outrunners. I'm pushing for you guys. I think 2-3 years, I think you guys will be one of the biggest tag teams in any company you choose to go with. But I kind of on the same page with Marky Mark a little bit. I feel like they should have just done that match. Nothing against the Guns and the Bollywood Boys, but that one you could have kind of kept off the card and had a couple matches go a little bit longer, or you could have gave the Bollywood Boys maybe a few more minutes and not total squash. What's your guys' thoughts on the whole? Do you think that those two squash matches were great? Do you think it was okay to have both of them? Are you kind of on the same point of Mark? What's your guys' thoughts on the squash matches last night?
Personally, for Sting, Darby, and the Outrunners, I said it during the live reaction that it made me think of WCW because the Outrunners is a very old school team. Like they bring out the WCW vibes. You get Sting in the ring. You're on TBS. Tony Schiavone is commentating the match, so like it felt like WCW to me. I really enjoyed seeing Sting. It's something different. It felt like WCW. Now the Guns, that they really could have left that off and gave another match more time, or just move it to Rampage, or just not do it at all. But I like the what I call the Bollywood Boys.
Yeah, but weren't they Jinder Mahal's goons in WWE?
Yeah, yeah, the one. Yeah,
yeah. Because I remember them. They had a great. If you guys get a chance, because I started watching a couple of independent matches. These guys could go. Like they're one of the best indie tag teams right now. Go back if you guys get a chance. Watch Bussy versus the Dollywood Boys, and like Bussy. It's Effie and Alley Cat.
I was gonna say it's the Alley Cat and I can never remember his name. You said Effie. It was Effie.
Yeah. Yes. Because he showed it on. He does a Monday Night Raw. This is a free plug to Effie. But he does watch Raw. He'll pull up independent matches for people to watch. And two of his favorite workers are Bollywood Boys, and they had one of the best tag matches with him. So, shout out to the Bollywood Boys. You guys did great as well. I wish you would have got an actual match instead of being squashed by Colton and Austin Gunn. But you kind of got to. I know you got to build up the Guns a little bit, but I think you could do that more in a heelish way than a squash match.
Yeah.
So, but I thought for the match though, for Darby and Sting versus the Outrunners, I think it was the best squash match of the night. The Outrunners, their performance, they sold it for me.
I mean, I kind of go back and forth because on one hand, let me be clear, I adore Sting. And I will preserve and fight for that man till the end because he is a national treasure and must be protected at all costs. So, like, in some ways, I struggle because I look at the squash matches as like we're sort of protecting Sting. Because we have him for a few months, so we're going to give him as much TV time as humanly possible. But he's also in his 60s, and I do not want to break him. So please,
let's not break Sting.
Like, if that means protecting him, I will take a squash. So, like, I'm always glad to see him on the screen, no matter what he's doing. But then to your point, I almost wish we could have given him more time because I just love that man. I want him to have as much time on TV as humanly possible.
But he does have a match on Friday, correct?
I thought
not Friday. Or sorry,
Collision.
He has
Collision.
Sorry, tomorrow. Sorry, I am so sorry, y'all. I'm off on days. It's been a rough week.
He can just be on every show. That would make me extremely happy.
But technically, the match is tonight. But
true, are they filming it tonight? Oh yeah,
Rampage is live and Collisions. It's actually looking for that Sting and Edge teaming up. That's a dream team.
That's crazy to think, though. Adam Copeland and Sting.
Oh,
That's gonna be fun.
They've never encountered each other.
I'm gonna
Not
cry.
wrong.
That's true.
This
Because
is gonna
Steamer,
be. It's gonna be like that moment when CM Punk joined them, and like they all did the like.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I like cried that night. It was the
Dude,
best
Adam
emotional.
Copeland, do you think he'll do the Sting and Darby makeup?
Gosh, I
That'll be
hope
interesting. I hope so.
that
At
would
least
make
one
my
time.
entire or like. I mean,
Oh,
he's
but
done it before, but like bring back some Joker Sting for me before
Yes.
it's too late. Bring back all the Jokers.
Yeah, I'm down for Joker Sting. Another thing that I kind of noticed last night was the video packages. I feel like they were all great and to the point. The first one that I thought was really good was just the one with Briscoe. I feel like it was great to the point. It basically said, "Hey, I fought the young kid Jay White, clean shaven. I fought him in ROH and I won. But now he's a switchblade and we haven't faced off in AEW yet." And I just loved that like callback to ROH, but I love to see how Jay White progressed. And I think they did a good job of showcasing, when they faced off the first time, and now when they're facing off in our main event tonight. I thought that was a great video package.
It's like one of the best things about like just AEW is like a wrestling company is like I love that they acknowledge the other universes of wrestling, whether it's ROH, TNA, like they're not afraid to like harken back to those other worlds or like show the history between two rivals because like I feel like that was always such a flaw with some of the WWE booking was like they just acted like nothing but their feuds or world existed. But like it would have made it so much better when you like expand that and you're like, yeah, remember I faced you, back in ROH, I faced you at this era of your life. It's like, so I know it may change now that we have Triple H in charge, but it's just something that from the get go I always thought was such a smart decision.
Because this is the first time they really acknowledged, like TNA or New Japan, was the matches with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, and AJ
Yes.
Styles and Samoa Joe. Like they acknowledged their past, and I'm glad that
So-
this is during the Vince era.
Right. It was
I'm
so
glad
weird.
that they acknowledged that. But yeah, I thought like that was probably one of my favorite video packages of the night. But then my favorite backstage segments coming up with Tony Storm,
Timeless
Luther,
Tony Storm.
Tony Schiavone, and Hadukuru Shida. Shout out to the camera guy because the whole like the black and white stuff was great. Them focusing on her feet, for some people that are interested with that kind of stuff. I thought it was very great camera angles throughout the whole promo. And then Shida, like I have never heard Shida talk like that.
Mm-hmm.
So these two characters, the way they came together for this backstage black and white segment, like, oh my gosh, like my mind was blown. I don't know if I just over enjoyed it, if I was just high on wrestling that night or what. But I really dig this contract signing, and I think this is it was something fresh, it was something new. It wasn't just here, let's get in the ring. Here, I'm gonna beat you for your championship, beat him down, put him through a table, sign it, and then drop the contract. I thought this was a great segment.
I was wondering about that too, about the whole feet thing, because I was like, why are they just paying attention to her feet right now? I was like, why am I staring at her feet?
For those who are into that.
That segment was great. And Luther, when I was watching the segment, I was like looking at Luther and I was like, good for him. I was like, you know what? I was like, he should be on screen more. I was always a big Luther guy with Serpentico. So seeing Luther doing something like that, I was like, it kind of fits, right? Like just seeing him back there with his tie, and he just looks like he's like security or something, right? Or like her bodyguard. I don't know. I did with Luther back there too, and then Shida. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. When she was talking, I was like, damn. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard Shida talk like that. And yeah, them just going back and forth, and Tony her character's just, I love it. I love what she's doing.
Flawless.
You just want to watch. It's like when she's on the screen, you want to see that. Like I want to see what she's gonna say, and that whole backstage that was such a good video package. I loved it.
You know, one thing that it was just every little detail like was just so crisp with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think Sheeta, like, I think this could, if she keeps the belt, I'm not sure. This is so far when the booking decisions. I'm not sure how it's going to go
Yeah.
at Full Gear. But if Sheeta keeps the championship, this could be her Charlotte Flair, her Ronda Rousey, her Becky Lynch, the man kind of run. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen. Or do you give it to one of the biggest characters in all of women's wrestling right now and give it to the modern day Marilyn Monroe, Tony Storm? Connor, what's your thoughts on this segment match build up? Do you think it's going to be hot potatoed back, or do you think it's going to go to Tony Storm? It's going to stay on her, or do you think it's going to stay on Sheeta? What's your thoughts with this new storyline? Are you reinvested in the women's championship? Like, what's going through your head with this segment and this build up to Full Gear?
I think they could do a lot better with the way they present their women. The whole shebang. Tony Storm's the best thing, really. Like she's literally a whole different wrestler. Like she created a whole new character. Like when Mick Foley has Mankind, she literally created a whole new wrestler. She's not the same Tony Storm. Personally, I would like to see Tony Storm with it because I want her to get that good title run. She hasn't got it yet, and she deserves it for the amount of hard work. You can tell she puts a lot into her character, and she has a butler now. But I'm curious because we'll talk about it probably later in this, but someone debuted on Dynamite.
Yep.
And they might end up helping someone win that Full Gear. But I think the match is going to be really good at Full Gear. I'm looking forward to that. For me personally, I'm kind of over Sheeta as champion, basically because we already had it like a few months ago. But I still like Sheeta, and if she retained, I'll be okay with it. Tony won. I like both of them, so it's hard to complain, but I hope Tony gets it back.
Yeah, and I know I've been flashing this comment on our screen a little bit, but I think no matter what, this is going to be one of the best. I think this is probably the best women's feud of the year, besides probably Jade and Chris Statlander. So Ethan says, Tony, I agree. It could be a great aspect for Tony Storm. So I think Sheeta, there's other opportunities for her on that roster as well. She's been one of the most. I would say Sheeta and Tony Storm are two of the most consistently booked wrestlers on that show. I would say even now over Britt Baker, because I haven't seen Britt Baker in a few months. It feels like. So yeah, it's very, very fun for sure. Great promo package last night. Next we have Lucha Underground in AEW. We have Swerve Strickland taking on Penta El Zero. And wow, what a just great spot match. The build up to every part in the match was just chef's kiss crisp. I literally felt like I was watching Lucha Underground. Emily, Connor, did you guys watch a lot of Lucha Underground? Or have you guys seen Penta's and Swerve stuff in Lucha?
Oh my gosh. That was like if I may, that was like an era that I was like so wholeheartedly obsessed with for a good while. So I was watching everything and anything I could get my hands on, and just there's something about it that is so unique. I mean, the style, of course, but it's a level of entertainment that it really does take you to another world. Like you almost feel like anything's possible with that type of wrestling because they defy gravity. They do these tricks that you literally are holding your breath. Like, oh my gosh, are they going to actually it just, the way that they presented it, it was such a love letter to Lucha Underground. And I really hope that they continue to spotlight that. And I just truly, I mean, Penta, I mean, hey, that's his home, his home base, really. He just, every time he comes out there, he puts on a performance that sticks with you. Those are the TikToks I go back and watch, are him doing his Lucha Underground moves because they're so iconic and Swerve is already such a master at his craft. Like just seeing both of them together was like fire. It was perfect.
What was your Mark and Connor? What did you guys think of? Or Mark?
On that
Um,
first.
what
Casualty.
you Connor? What did you think of this match? And Mark, what did you guys think about this match going on? Like, did you see hints
was-
of the past in it? Do you think it was better than it was in Lucha Underground? Do you like what was your like thoughts when you saw like this just crazy match?
This is one of my favorites. I believe I mixed it up when I said Pentagon and Jay White because it wasn't. It was Pentagon and Swerve. I meant to say Swerve and Pentagon was my favorite match. For some reason, I thought it was Jay White and Penta. But it was a really, really good match. That was my favorite match of the night. A lot of the spots reminded me of Lucha Underground. Like if you go back and like you put the two side by side, see on TikTok that they did the same sequence of moves, like literally like step by step. They did the same type. Which Swerve was not in Lucha Underground. Killshot was. He's kin to Swerve though. I mean character. Swerve does Killshot it by the way.
What? I had no idea. I thought Swerve was just in WWE and then AEW and just did a rapper name change.
Well, yeah, there's three of them. You got Prince Puma. Well, no, that's someone else. Killshot. You got Swerve, Strickland, and Isaiah. They're all three brothers, I think.
They're all three different brothers.
But the match was really good. My favorite match of the night. Lucha Underground. It reminded me of. I love Lucha Underground. It was a TV show into wrestling, basically. It was like a TV show built into wrestling. And wasn't for Lucha Underground, a lot of these guys wouldn't have made the next step. I don't think we would have the Lucha Bros in AEW if they didn't.
No.
Right.
I don't think a lot of them would have went to Impact because a lot of them went from Lucha Underground, Impact, to AEW.
Or WWE too.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see the talent that's been in both shows that got big because of Lucha and Impact. You know.
Yeah, it was my favorite match of the night.
Definitely agree. Mark, what was your thoughts on Penta and Swerve going at it? What was your thoughts going through it? Do you think Penta was going to win that match at times? You knew going into it was going to be, Swerve, or do you think it was going to go either way? What was your thoughts going through everything?
I pretty much had Swerve, but I remember when the match was announced, we talked about it. This was a match that we haven't had before in AEW, so it could be a quote unquote, dream match. Which me and Connor talked about that this whole episode of Dynamite, we had a whole bunch of first time matches, which compared to the other program, pretty much get the same stuff over and over.
Yeah.
And here, we got these matches for just a random Dynamite, and yeah, this one was one that I knew that was going to be like one of those hidden banger, matches that, you got the MJF thing and Keith Lee and Samoa Joe, but this one was kind of like that hidden one, that little hidden gem that you knew was going to be a 5-star, shootout, and it was everything that you would expect and probably more. These two guys, they have good chemistry. Swerve just, both of these guys can pretty much have chemistry with anybody in the ring, and then when you put these two guys together, they're just magic.
Explosion.
You cannot take your eyes off the screen. Like you want to see everything they're going to do. You're not going to get many holdups. It's just going to be nonstop action. These guys are going to be running all over the place, flying all over the place. And it was just, I wish I would have seen Lucha Underground. I know I was telling you, Lane, earlier, that I wish I would have got to see Lucha Underground, because I would have loved to have seen that match in Lucha Underground, see how that was. So I'll have to see about trying to go back and watch some of that stuff.
Oh man, Killshot was just crazy.
Yeah.
Like Swerve now takes everything that Killshot did, mix it with his WWE character, and you have one of the best wrestling characters right now in professional wrestling. He literally is drawing from every portion of him in the two big shows he's worked.
Yeah, you could tell. He's he's gotten better every step of the way. When he first got there, he's just he's one of these other breakout stars that are just, like Daniel Garcia, that they have just like broken out and ready to see them do their singles push.
Yeah, for sure. What do you guys think about the Hangman and that whole after match? Hangman putting Swerve through the table, getting pulled off of him literally strangling Swerve, saying that he's a dead man. Like, I got chills. I know it's simple and it's been one of the most overused spots in all professional wrestling, going through a table. But man, I just love the aggression that Hangman had. What was your guys' thoughts with that? With that last ending of the night before before they moved on to the next segment. What was your thoughts with that blow off and that and then keep building up to Full Gear?
I personally thought it's one of my favorite feuds besides MJF and Jay White. It's my favorite feuds going on right now. It's real. It's
I think we have a run-in. One second. Welcome, everybody. We have a very special guest on our show. He's taking over. What's up, Cody? You're on mute, bro. Give us just 1 second, folks.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up, brother? Hey, nice of you to have a run-in tonight.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah, man, you're coming on clear. What's going on, bro?
Awesome. I just brought some news today, actually, which was pretty good. I gonna be starting the wrestling school again here soon, so might be heading out to Winnipeg.
Congrats. Oh, you're going to Winnipeg?
Yeah, I might train with AJ Sanchez.
Nice. Awesome, bro. Hey, that's awesome, great news, bro. Since we have you on here, what was your thoughts last night on the Hangman and Swerve ending to that match last night after we had Penta and Swerve just tear it down? What was your thoughts with that last segment before they went to commercial break?
I honestly think that Hangman should be not getting recommended so much for the stuff he's been doing, when really Swerve's been the guy going to his house and like threatening and stuff. Like, but yet Hangman's the one not allowed to go to the show. That's the thing I don't get about that storyline. But other than that,
it's wrestling logic, bro.
Probably gonna go like it's gonna hit ahead at some big pay-per-view coming soon.
I bet Full Gear for sure. I think we're gonna have the best matches at Full Gear. And I think Swerve's gonna beat. I really think Swerve's gonna beat Hangman. And it's gonna make both look even stronger, even better.
I think they should just strap the title on Swerve.
Okay.
They should put a rocket on that guy and just send him to the moon.
I agree with that.
Agree.
I think he's amazing.
Really,
yeah, Davis.
Appreciated.
Cody is part of our AEZ Canada team. And man, it's awesome actually to have him on here. Because it's the first time I've had a conversation with Cody. And Cody, if you ever get the chance, man, Thursday nights, anybody from AZ Canada is invited to Talking Elite or any other little podcast show that we do like this, man. You're always invited, bro.
Oh, awesome. I'll gladly join.
Sweet, man. All right. Let's see. What was the next thing after? Oh, it was the Jay White promo. So Jay White finishes up with what happened with Mark Briscoe at the beginning of the night. Basically just cuts a really clean promo, just ties everything together for their match tonight. What was your guys' thoughts on that promo? Did you guys enjoy it? Do you think it just tied everything together? Do you think if it was left off, it wasn't going to make a difference? What's your thoughts on that?
I thought it was good. I thought for me it was either way, whether he cut one or not. But I do enjoy that, having MJF coming out and trying to get back at him, get his belt back. I do like that significance of it, because he's not just doing it for nothing, right? It's doing it for something, and it was a perfect transition from that to the backstage stuff going on with the Acclaimed, and MJF kind of just stuck there in the ring, watching as Bowens goes through the glass. Like that was awesome. I mean, I haven't seen a good spot like that in a while. That ending was so good. And I know there was a little tidbit there at the end where Samoa Joe is just watching when MJF goes running back there, and you just see Samoa Joe just standing there in the distance. You're just like watching, like laughing.
Oh, man.
You know? Oh my god, like that's just so cruel.
And of course, Mark just jumped ahead. Nicely done, though. But no, man, it was like I said, I mean, like that was one of the best spots in the whole night, and just every one of MJF's enemies had an appearance tonight, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. What I got from it, and I'm going to pose this question to both Cody and Connor and Mark and Emily and everybody in the chat. Could Jay White be the one to defeat MJF? Could he be the next world champion?
Personally, for me, Ethan kind of said what I was going to say in the comments, but yeah, Adam Cole did the same thing in Revolution 2022 when him and Red Dragon took the world title and tag belts, and after Revolution, he didn't have the belt. So I think it's probably going to be like that, but I think it's going to be a very good match. And Jay White's dominated the feud. He pinned MJF clean. He's had the title. And like I was wondering, like if Kenny Omega, one of these guys, won the belt, like what would they get? Because MJF doesn't have the belt, so what would they even win? I think it's going to be a very good match, but he will be a world champion one day to AEW. He will be a world champion, but
I will say this because you have an interesting point there, and I will disagree with you. This the whole since MJ doesn't have the belt, if somebody beat him for it, could they be world champion? If you think about it, in MJF's mind, it's just a belt. He knows he's the champion. He doesn't need the belt to be a champion. And I know Jay White did a very similar story in New Japan. I think it was against Okada. Either Okada or Tanahashi. I can't remember. It was one of the two. But he did a very similar story like that, get belt hostage. But it's the way that Max carries himself where he is the champion. We know he's the champion. He just doesn't have, the belt around his waist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Juice Robinson did that too with Will Ospreay. When he didn't want to give up the U.S. title. Yeah, so
it's like their thing.
Yeah, right. It's like a New Japan thing.
No belt is safe for round 1 and 2.
It's totally a Bullet Club thing, man.
It really is.
Yeah.
If I can't be the champion, you can't be either.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I really think this was a good little promo, tied everything up. And then another thing that kind of surprised me. Normally, I don't like these kind of things. Just looking back at what happened with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre stuff advertising they did on AEW. The Like a Dragon. I have not played any of the games, but I know the concept and the story behind the series. I loved the build-up with a video package and an advertisement to a game and a match that's coming up. Did you guys like that commercial / video package? What was your thoughts on that?
So, like, as a guy that streams, I stream AEW Fight Forever on Twitch. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of frustrating that they're also pushing another game when the game that they put out themselves isn't even finished yet. Like, I would expect them to like put more effort into the game and the game modes and like the things you can do in the game before they promote another game like that.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think it's also hard too because Kenny is a huge JRPG fan. Really anything with Japanese, like he's very big into when it comes to that. So it's cool that they were able to get the advertisement, but I can see they should be like doing some stuff with their game, because not gonna lie, like it doesn't have that much of a fan base right now. Mm-hmm. I really think the only 3 people that are playing it right now are this top row right here, me, Cody, and Connor.
Fight Forever stuff.
Just kidding.
Mr. Hartgrove, he put us on his channel. We talked a lot about that in Talking Elite. So he has some insights that people don't normally have. So if you want to know AEW Fight Forever news, he doesn't even work for them, and he gets the news before AEW even puts it out. So.
I mean, I feel like it's one of those things that's like definitely evolved in this day and age of wrestling. Is like they try to work in obviously advertisements, and you can tell when it fits really nicely, and then you can tell when it's just really ridiculous. I mean, WWE is like their cinnamon toast crunch match, and like some of these like really dark, but like it's Snickers. Like you're just like oh, like you cringe, but it's like. But I can't lie, like it's so bad that it's so good. I mean, I'm probably biased because I work in marketing and advertising, so I'm like, well done, well played. It's like so cheesy, but like I don't mind it. I think it's kind of funny.
Well, it's okay, Emily, because after that WrestleMania, I went out and bought some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and I had some Prime, mixed with my cereal. So it really worked marketing.
It's so bad, but it's so good. It's the stuff that's so bad that it's so good that I'm like, okay, I'm a sucker for it. You win. It's too good. I mean, Kevin Owens eating like 3 Snickers during the press conference afterwards. I was like, man, I really want a Snickers now.
I want the MJF pickles. I'm still regretting not buying a pickle jar of
They
MJF
always
pickles.
sell out every single time that he like puts out. He's like, they're back in limited time offer, and I'm like, son, like by the time I get there, they're gone. Like.
Yes.
They did it right once with the Rick and Morty match with Trent and them when they did that,
amazing.
and Sans, and when they did
I was about to say Sans.
That whole Dynamite was just amazing.
Perfect.
I think that one is probably one of my favorite. I think Halloween moments.
Yes.
That one, and then the one we'll probably talk tomorrow with Brandon Cutler himself, but. The whole when Hangman and the Bucks were feuding, when they removed, the mask, and it was Brandon Cutler duct tape under there, and Hangman just removed the Marshmallow Man.
It was so great.
It's so weird that things like that work in professional wrestling, but I think sometimes it doesn't need to be 100% serious, and things like that really can make a feud.
Would have made the massacre better if Tony Khan was the one with the chainsaw at the top. That would have sold me right there.
He was though.
Was he?
Yeah, there's been lots backstage reports that he was the one behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That'd be crazy if they brought New Jack out like that.
Oh my god!
Imagine New Jack
made if they had done that.
Dude, if New Jack was still alive, I bet Tony would have brought him in.
Yeah,
it would probably be.
We saw Nick Gage.
Well, against Eddie Kingston, Nick Cage, like.
Oh, dude, that would be.
God.
See, it would work. Like it would
Which
work.
one would survive?
I want Nick Cage back on TV. I thought it was one of the funnest parts. Nick Gage. I hope we come back to AEW for one-off appearances are great for him.
Well,
I hope I get to meet him someday. Like he's one of those people like that I hope is at like another meet and greet in the future, just because I have so much respect for him.
Yes,
I think it's up to WB now. The Domino's Pizza incident.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that? Like the Domino's Pizza, and he was doing the.
That was one of the. I think it was unintentional, but it was genius. That's marketing at its finest, right there. Like
so
I 100% ordered a pizza that night. I can tell you right now. I am that sick individual who did that.
You talked about when they went to commercial, but they kept it play by play, and it was the cutter and then the Domino's commercial.
Yeah.
I don't think it was intentional.
Domino's I heard was so angry.
No, there was no way.
It's just a coincidence, But.
Yeah. Oh, but one of the best parts came out though, and I loved this promo that gave callbacks to Hangman and Kenny versus the Bucks. The Golden Jet promo with the Bucks and Jericho and Kenny both saying, "Hey, you guys are acting like little kids. Like, I saved Jericho. You got the Bucks. You guys are still my friends." And then I loved how Jericho was like, "Dude, like you guys are his friends. You should have had his back when he was getting beat up by Keith Lee. Powerhouse Hobbs. My apologies." But like, I loved that. I loved how like if they lose, that team can never challenge for the belts. I liked that. The Bucks got a little ballsy there.
That's very interesting.
I am
feel
intrigued.
like this is going to turn into a Buck thing. Like it's always the friend that comes in, like tries to be friends with Kenny or tries to be friends with Hangman, and then they turn against them because they're trying to be friends with them. And it's happened like 3 times.
Yeah.
Like with Dark Order and like all these
Dark
other.
Order. Hangman left the group for a while.
Give them
Man,
a big apology.
Like the Bucks just have a problem.
well, I think that's the thing. They're playing. That's why I love how smart the Bucks are. Well, not and this is ignoring all the actual drama. We're not talking about what happened just because we've discussed it plenty of times before. But where they are smart.
The CM Punk stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I had to say it out loud.
Not because like I said, we've talked about it to death on the show plenty full of times, right? But pushing that aside, I think that it's a great storytelling device they've
Hunter's dying.
Because think about it, they're using all the drama and the stuff that fans are literally saying about them again, and now they're using it against Kenny Omega and Jericho. It's genius. Like they know how, how to keep hated. What's up?
Like your facial reaction, like once Emma said CM Punk, you knew it was about to blow up because normally that subject.
Well, that's the thing. Is like
boiling. Like, oh no.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. That's because we've talked about it pretty much to death on here, right? I don't want to just go off into another CM Punk tangent.
Not to spoil anything, but me and Lane had talked about some interesting things about our anniversary show, kind of like that. You know what I mean?
So, like I said, we have our anniversary show coming up next month. Actually, a month from tomorrow, we'll be celebrating our 2-year anniversary of the All Elite Zone podcast. It's going to be a huge party. We're going to try to have everybody on. It's going to be awesome. We're going to share some of our favorite times on the podcast. Connor and I are working hard, especially Connor mainly because he's the brains of the video packages. He knows how to put them together. I just say, hey, I think this is a good idea. Connor, put it together.
Well, when you have that next one, you got to bring a holiday cocktail with you. Everyone's got to.
Speaking of heated moments on here, like what we were referring
to. Got into it. January, was it?
Well, there's a few of them. Most of all of them involve Chris, but like we have different categories. Like I guess I'll tell you, better for all of the debuts, reactions, the most heated moments, the most all that. So I thought I'd bring that up.
For those of you guys who are new to the AEZ, you're gonna see a lot of fun stuff with what Connor and I are working behind the scenes on. Connor and I back in January got into a huge debate about CM Punk because at the time I was tired of talking and hearing about CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, and this is coming from a CM Punk fan. Like, he's one of the ones that got me into wrestling. But man, me and Connor had a little fun debate on that night. It got a little heated, and that's why everybody was like, "Are you guys feuding? Do you guys have heat with each other?" Because that's why we always play to that because it's just a fun running joke. But Connor and I behind the scenes, like we're great friends. We're working on stuff. We may disagree on a lot of things, but hey, like
that's the sign of true friendship. Is like
that's true friendship.
Agree, and it's okay.
Yeah. Connor doesn't like green olives, and I do. And we got a bigger fight over green olives than CM Punk.
So Connor won't have a martini, I guess, when it's next month celebrating the anniversary.
Yeah, Connor can have a martini. What's up?
No olives.
No, I was saying that we got in a fight over green olives because you don't like green olives.
Oh yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Anyways,
No,
you're good. But yeah, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. It's gonna be awesome. We're also celebrating a year anniversary of Talking Elite as well. A lot of great fun stuff has happened with our show last year. We've grown about 100 subscribers since last year, and we're gonna keep growing. So thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you guys have subscribed down below. We appreciate everybody's listening. Make sure you guys are staying up to date because man, we got some fun stuff coming up, and we'll discuss some of our upcoming events at the end of our show. So next we have Keith Lee versus Samoa Joe. Big meat slapping.
The meat match.
Oh my, the meat match of the night. And man, was this how to book big man correctly?
You see the way Keith Lee murdered him with that crossbody?
Yeah.
Like, holy
Yeah.
shit. I didn't think I'd seen Samoa Joe get decked like that. Like,
You don't.
You
it
never
just doesn't
see it
happen.
knocked out like that.
Because what was it? Brock that was the last person to manhandle Keith Lee,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
not Keith Lee, but
Samoa.
manhandle Joe.
Yeah. From a size perspective, that's probably right.
And Joe took him to the limit, too. Like, those weren't, like, easy matches for Brock.
Yeah, but looking at that Cobra, that when he made Keith Lee pass out from the clutch, oh my gosh! Like, I've never seen a grown ass man that size literally just die. He died. He died in that ring last
He
night.
sold the shit out of that.
It just both of them are so good, and like I've been worried about Keith Lee because a lot of people have like speculated he hasn't been quite the same since he got COVID, and like I've always been like really like worried and anxious for him ever since I heard that because like I just want him to be healthy. So like seeing that match just like brought tears to my eyes. Like, oh, he's doing so good.
He's back. Like, he was back to vintage Keith Lee.
Put my anxiety to rest, let's just say. So like that just it made me feel so happy that he was strong. Joe is strong. Like, those are two badass wrestlers.
Joe has the best
Yes,
Uranagi
like
in wrestling. I'm just gonna say it.
Right?
That corner Uranagi, oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh man, like that. I'm still like, I watched that one back today, right before it went on. Oh my gosh, what a match! Whew, I got chills, bro. I got chills just talking about it right now. Mark, what was like? Did you like the big man? Did you like? Do you like big men?
Yeah, man, it was a good match. I anytime I could see Keith Lee in the ring in singles, I'm always game for that. And then going against Samoa Joe, again, it was another one of these matches it hasn't had before, you know. So anytime you get a match like that, you know, color me intrigued. And yeah, these two big meaty guys didn't let me down. And I like how, you know, it was you know, Keith Lee just passing out. You know, he didn't tap out, so he didn't look, you know, weak. You know, so it wasn't like, you know, put him back down at the bottom feeder. Like, no, he's still a contender. He's still somebody up there that, you know, that's going to go toe to toe with everybody, right? Like, you can put him with anybody, and, you know, he can have a singles run too eventually. But man, there's like so many guys right now that I want to see get pushed, and it's tough, man. With this roster the way it is, this roster is just so stacked. You want this person, you want this person, you want this person, and it's just like, well, not everybody can have a belt, right? And, you know, it's tough. It's a really good roster, you know. And then, like we kind of talked about it earlier, you know, I mean, I said that, you know, AEW is kind of getting back into their stride, you know, and doing these matches like this that are, you know, these matches that you haven't seen before. You know, that's how you're going to get the audience back is getting those type of matches, and, you know, get those two big meaty guys in there. You get any two big meaty guys in there, and we're going to watch. You know, get me Wardlow, get me Powerhouse, get me, you know, Samoa Joe against those guys. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a good match. I loved it.
I think both Tony and Triple H should take note of the match that Joe and Keith put on last night.
Agreed.
Every bit of that match was storytelling at its finest. And I would have been okay if Keith Lee would have won that belt last night, because I feel like Keith Lee could help bring up a lot of people in ROH and try to make it relevant. Because like I said, it's been suffering for a while. That brings us to probably, I would say, not low point of the night, but I wish that, and it almost reminds me of something you'd see in Impact, option C. I think it was it Connor? Was it you that you said that Joe picked option C in our group chat?
Yeah, it was kind of copied. It was kind of option C, but I don't know why. Like, it's two different companies, so I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, they would do that, but it was basically option C. Yeah.
So if you guys didn't see, on Wednesday night, Joe relinquished the ROH TV Championship, saying he is going for Max. He is going for the big belt. And kind of into what Mark was saying, he became Max's villain. he basically gave a Disney villain type performance that night, and he wasn't even part of the Masked Intruders. He just stood there and watched MJF freak out. So I'm glad that they're not needing that belt on him, but man, like I wish they could just give it to Keith Lee or have him lose it at the next ROH pay-per-view. What did you guys think about him relinquishing the belt as they did? I'm going to start with Connor because I'm curious. When I saw this, I was curious on your take on it because unfortunately I didn't watch the watch along when that match was going on. What was your thoughts on that? Take me back to that relinquishment.
It was basically like TNA, but in a different way. Basically, doing spin on it, I guess. I think Joe has to win the world title now because he doesn't have to, but he gives up a title to go for another title, and if he loses against Max, then he comes out with nothing. But Joe and MJF, maybe they could headline World's End, December. But then I know Mark made a comment that could actually happen. Joe being MJF's tag partner at Full Gear for the ROH tag titles. But I kind of think that I think hopefully that they're going to be putting all the ROH titles on ROH because they took the six-man belts off of Young Bucks and Hangman. They took this title off of Joe. Maybe they're going to start actually doing better with ROH and putting the titles on ROH. But yeah, I would have liked to see Keith Lee win it because Keith Lee deserves a big win. He hasn't had a big win in a while. I can't think of the last time he had a big match besides tag or six-man.
North American title.
Yeah, that's 28. Well, in AEW, I think he beat Swerve one time.
He beat Swerve, but that's the hard part. Is I only remember him really for his tag matches and his Swerve. What could have been story with Swerve Strickland.
Yeah, I thought it was a okay decision, I guess. I'm curious to see what they do next with Samoa Joe. I feel like he's going to go for the world title again because he's kind of made that clear that he wants the title again. But I wouldn't be mad if Samoa Joe won the AEW world title. I wouldn't be mad at that because he's had a lot of good programs with a lot of big name wrestlers. MJ, like in just the past few months, CM Punk, Joe, and Keith Lee now. Like he's been going against a lot of big name guys in AEW. But hopefully they do better with the ROH brand and put those titles back on ROH and build the brand up. But yeah,
I think they're building Keith Lee back up.
Yeah,
for sure. I think you gotta bring him back up. So hopefully we'll see that here shortly. There is a comment in the section, but I don't. Unfortunately, Dally unfortunately, we're not going to pull it up. We do acknowledge you. Thank you for coming out and watching, but I think it's not. I don't think it's going to be a good fit for the show to ask that question. So we do appreciate you watching, though. All right. We also had a Wardlow video package last night. Basically, he's sleeping. He's working hard. He's getting ready to come after Max.
Mm-hmm.
So is this just MJF versus the world? Like, is it at this point?
Basically.
I feel like they're taking like inspiration from Scott Pilgrim at this point.
I honestly would not be too shocked if he actually went over to New Japan for a match and tried there and then came back, like how John Moxley and all of them do it, like Juice, all of them do it. But seeing that he's the AEW World Champion, you would think the champion would be going also and proving how prestigious the world title is in his promotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like how the old territory days were.
Miss those days, man. I wish I would have been able to be around during that time frame. It almost feels like we're back almost to that point. Because aside from the two major companies, like Japan, NWA, MLW, TNA, it almost feels like we're going back to that. I don't know how it is up in Canada. Fortunately, I don't know much about the
In
Canada
Canada,
market aside from what I've heard from you guys. But
there's actually a
do you think we're
company
going
in
back that way?
Canada that
What's up?
CWE.
Hmm.
That's the company Danny Duggan started, and
Okay.
he did like a security spot in like WWE before and did like an enhancement match there, but he was also a tag team with Kenny Omega in Winnipeg when Kenny first started.
Oh, that's
Same
cool.
with Chris Jericho. They were both in that company, and that's why the Golden Jets make so much sense, because that company is based out of Winnipeg.
I forgot about. I
Oh.
forgot that he was with Kenny and Jericho. I knew
There's-
the Jets part, but shout out to Winnipeg Jets. One of the best. One of the well, they're an NHL hockey team. John,
They bring up,
Des,
they know how to bring
Kenny.
up hockey and their amazing hockey game. I get it.
Oh,
Actually, I think they're probably. I think them and the Flames are probably two of the best Canadian teams out there. So
Connor, did you want me to tell you the thing on this one?
Yeah, if you want, yeah, we can do it
Yeah.
for both.
we're gonna take a quick break from talking AEW Dynamite. Cody, why don't you go ahead and bring up what you're gonna bring up?
I first started getting into wrestling, like just doing ring crew. I was just going around on tour with CWE, just going around like Saskatchewan for a bit, just doing ring crew, and then I ended up meeting one of the wrestlers there, and I went to high school with him. Well, like we both did high school wrestling, and we ended up wrestling each other in like a amateur wrestling match, and it like went on for like 6 minutes, and I don't know, it was the longest match in his like history or some shit for like high school wrestling. And then like he noticed me at a CWE show in Prince Albert, and he came up to me after his match, sat with me throughout the whole show, and just like talked to me. Like didn't even know who I was at first, and then he just like started talking about like, oh, how did you start liking wrestling? It's like, oh, I started wrestling in high school. I liked wrestling since I was 3, and turned out we wrestled each other. I didn't even recognize him because he had like really long hair back in the day. But then, so I ended up going to a show for BEW in Warman, just like a month after, and I'm just he decides to show me a few things in the ring, like probably about an hour's worth of just like bumping and hitting the ropes, and like I took a move that was not the funnest to take. Samoan driver, where you get spiked on your head.
Ooh.
The sit out pile driver isn't fun. I learned the hard way that you have to watch your steps when you're running the ropes, or else you're
Yep.
screwed. Those ropes are so unforgiving. Like you don't like think about it when you're watching the wrestling, because you're just like, oh, the ropes look like they stretch a lot and stuff.
Yeah.
Just steel cable wrapped in tape. It's like no big deal. It's like just broken blood vessels all over my back just from the ropes, and then got whiplash, concussion, and I got like, it was bad. It was bad after that. And then so 2 weeks go by, and like I didn't talk to this guy for 2 weeks. He messaged me, hey, would you want to come out to RCW show in Edam to referee? I was like, sure, I'm not doing nothing. We end up getting out there. It's a 5-hour drive. Get out there, and then all of a sudden the promoter, he's like, so like 3 of the guys didn't show up. One of the guys injured. We're short for our show, so we're gonna have to call an audit. So we all went to the back, and all the wrestlers had to pitch ideas. Everybody pitched ideas on what to do, and we all kind of jammed together and figured out like, okay, we're gonna do a round robin tournament for the title, and this is gonna be like a tournament that just goes out throughout the night. So I was in the second match, getting told when I go there that I'm just supposed to referee, only having 1 hour of training at all, and I end up going out, wearing these tiny ass red shorts that were riding up my ass so bad. Oh, it was so bad. And
Please
my
tell me you got
voice,
pictures of that.
oh,
You know he's got to.
You gotta post on the group chat once we're done, man. I gotta see this.
the security guard that I asked to record my match had my phone set up and everything on the like tripod. Didn't press play.
Right.
Oh,
So
dang, poor
Sorry.
Cody. This
But-
the life of a
Brutal.
professional wrestler. Oh man,
the
the
guy
life
I
of an
wrestled,
indie professional wrestler. How dare he?
oh, and like, oh, the chops hurt. Like it all hurts.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way. I was like, okay, yeah, even WWE, like if you're taking a power bomb, that's fucking insane. Like no normal person could take a power bomb. I'm just gonna say that right now. Like in a ring, like you realize how hard that is, and you take a back bump. Holy crap, it's bad. You're dazed, so dizzy. Like that's why Kenny has vertigo. That's why the ring spins when he's wrestling. He's learned how to wrestle in a spinning ring for the past 2 years because of his vertigo.
No, I do have one
Oh
question.
man,
Just from my personal wrestling experience, because I've not really wrestled, but I've refereed, and referee gets to learn how to take bumps. I guess it's the coaching me. When you run the ropes, what is the reason why you your hand on the ropes? Why did they say to hold on to the ropes when you're running them?
The guy told me some guys get too excited and they'll fucking bounce out the ring.
Yep. There you go.
Or like they'll like fall over the top rope, fall in between the bottom middle rope, like they'll fumble up. Or lots of it's to protect your neck too. Because if you misstep and you wring your neck on that rope, your neck's going like that and there's no give. And that happened to me 3 times that training day when I first started. Got something messed up, something in my vertebrae, but I got it fixed. But so they tell me, okay, your match is gonna start, but there's gonna be a stipulation to it. I was like, okay, well, I don't even know the finish. What are you talking about? So he tells me whoever loses this match has to referee all the rest of the matches for the rest of the night. So I was like, okay, who am I wrestling? This guy named Kato comes out and he has a mask and stuff, and he's just telling me like all this stuff, like what can you do? Like what can you do in the ring? I was like, I don't know. Like
Well,
I
here's
know-
the thing.
I know I can physically do all this stuff, but I don't know if like I don't want to botch. Like I really don't want to botch, especially my first match. So I go out to like avenge sevenfold, and I was just
Right
the
on.
crowd started going crazy, and I came out with my shoot name. I had these really generic red tights, just red trunks, and some
With the red
random
trunks?
like amateur wrestling shoes. Not even no pads, no nothing. Just went in, just bareballed it, and the referee comes up to me. He's like, I don't know who's taking the pin. I was like, wait, what?
Wait,
What do
you
you
don't
mean
know
you
who
don't know
that
who's
is?
taking the pin? Okay, so this whole match is an audit? It's like, pretty much. It's like, okay.
Oh.
So basically,
Wow.
I get smacked with a bunch of chops in the chest, and holy shit, did he light me up. And I was like, first ever match in the back there, they initiated me by doing me 20 chops by each wrestler, especially the bigger guys.
Oh,
So my chest was all red and fucked by the time I got out there. So
well, Cody, man, that is just crazy, man.
That
I
is
cannot wait to see
brutal.
and hear more stories of your professional wrestling journey. Like we talked about at the start of the Cody mentioned at the start of the show, he is officially being trained as a professional wrestler here shortly, near where Jericho and Kenny Omega have both trained and wrestled. So a lot of people in the comments, from Davis to Devin, Really enjoyed your insight and your story, man. And we've heard a lot of Connor's great stories on here, and to have another person that has another story that they can tell really brings us closer to the sport that we love. So,
I got
Cody,
so
brother,
many.
I know your chest is probably still red and sore from all those chops, man, but
Makes
we
us
appreciate your
appreciate
sacrifice and a funny story.
and what I mean, it just kind of reminds you like what you see is so incredible. Like I think to your point, we take it for granted because we watch and it looks like, oh, it's easy. They're bumping, they're jumping, they're falling, and
Uh-huh.
that shit hurts.
Yeah.
Running the ropes is a lesson in itself. You have to
Yep.
count your steps. You have to pivot. You have to know where to put your arm. You have to know your whole presence,
Yep.
and then you have to know where your opponent is at the same time. And then it's like, okay, but if you do that thing where like the TNA thing with the 6-sided ring, holy crap! I could not imagine running those ropes.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, we're gonna finish off our show. The last two big segments of the night. We have a returning Red Velvet returning after a year of injury. So good to see her back on. We missed her. I missed her. It was great. And then she goes up against Julia Hart, and Julia Hart is just dominating that women's division right now.
Yeah, this match I thought was really good. The crowd was really into it. If you go back and watch, every once in a while they were into it. Crowd was into it. I was into it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really love the match. I also loved what happened after the match. What are you guys thinking about what's going on with Sky Blue? What's your guys' thoughts on Sky Blue? Do you think she's gonna start joining the faction with House of Black?
I would love that because I would really like to see House of Black. Like, I just love when there's like, the intergender groups, kind of like what WWE has going on with Judgment Day. Like, I just think it shows that women can be badass too and wrestling. Like, it's such a cool dynamic and story. So I think it's awesome.
Very true. It's so crazy because I've seen like her evolution of like the change. She had the spray, of course, from Julia Hart, which reminds me of what Malachi did to her, which I thought was a great little touch. You go back to last week with her Scooby Doo gear. Shout out to that gear, by the way. That's awesome. And then she had the blue, those blue like teardrop, weird spray things coming off her eyes, and makeup. And then last night she comes out all black and then has that same, splatter makeup but in black. Really nice little touch that Sky Blue did last night. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this.
It's a little confusing, right? Because it kind of seemed like she was already going towards joining Julia, but then she missed her. Though she missed pretty badly, though I will say that she did miss her, but missed her, as in she missed her eyes. But I don't know if that was intentional or not. But that's the only thing that I'm confused about because it does seem like she's going that way, but then she missed her. So is she just trying to do her own thing? I mean, I think we're gonna get set up for another four-way women's title match here with Sky Blue, Willow, Chris, and Julia, right? I mean, I think that all these characters coming out, on the screen at the end of that match it seems like something is building up to that, and I wouldn't be surprised if Chris drops the title to Julia at Full Gear in a match like that, where she can come in and steal a win, right? Like Willow, giving Chris, the power bomb and just tossing her out and then making the pin, or some type of twist and turn with Sky Blue doing something to Willow, and there's a lot of intrigue, right? I mean, there's so many different, with that one group of women, they're all looking pretty badass, like Emily said. These are all badass women doing badass stuff right now, and with them, there's all these different avenues of how this can play out. So it makes it really intriguing. It's a good storyline that got going on with the women on this one.
I would not be mad if Julia Hart becomes the next TBS champion.
No, she
There's a
would
lot
be
of
great.
spooky stuff she could do with the belt, and I feel like she could be the next big thing in the women's division and be the next workhorse champion. Chris could go off and win the big one, hopefully. I'm hoping that's the direction they go within a few months. You build her up in a year time. I think you're right with that. I think Julia will be the next, TBS champion.
Yeah. Think of it. If she won, she would be the youngest AEW champion of all time.
Because she's 22?
21,
23?
22, yeah.
Wouldn't it
I
be
think she just
Oh.
turned 22.
That's crazy.
And she just got married and had a
Yep.
birthday.
And a birthday. Congrats.
And maybe win a
And a happy
title.
birthday. And potential title win. Hopefully.
Sounds
Crossing your
All of
fingers.
it's gonna be a big year for her.
Right?
A few things
Yeah.
going on.
I have an interesting take on that, actually.
Okay, Cody, what's up?
I honestly think it would be crazy if Willow ended up turning out to be the mastermind behind the whole thing. And that Sky was actually doing this whole thing just to distract from Willow actually being the head of it. Because with Willow being how she's being, she's trying to mediate it a lot, trying to be like the one that's in the middle, really torn between them. But really, like, she's the one that's making them apart more by being that one in the middle. So, like, if she really wanted to, she could probably turn Sky against Chris or, like, so-and-so and then start her own storyline with, like, maybe she's in the House of Black.
That would be a different twist.
I would
Because
love
Willow
that.
is a great wrestler. Like, oh my god, Willow is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Give me layers. I like that. If you give me layers to a story like that, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Especially like us. I know like we'll understand it and enjoy it.
Didn't
But
Willow
something like
face-
that. Good?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're good. Good. No, you're good, Emily. Good.
I was just curious. Was it Willow who faced Mercedes Monet in New Japan?
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
Okay,
She
I'm
beat-
just curious because
yeah.
that could be a really cool way also to bring Mercedes in
Ooh.
to the picture too. Now the wheels are going. This is
Have
what
Willow
Shoot,
turn
we need to
heel,
give you the
Mercedes
pencil
come up
thing.
face.
And see, and this goes back to that thing of, there's all these different possibilities, right? And avenues with these 4 women that you can definitely see something happening with each one of them. And that's what makes this a great storyline, is when you have all 4 possible of doing their own thing with that title.
and you don't
Yeah.
know which direction they're gonna go.
Exactly.
For
If
sure.
Mercedes came in, they could pull off a double turn, like they did
Double
before
turn?
So great.
with Steve Austin, and
Oh,
they could make Willow turn heel and Monet face.
and now I want this.
I
And
love
then
this,
they can head
Cody.
it at Revolution.
Someone text Tony Khan right now.
Someone
Yeah,
watches
Connor,
our
you
show.
text me his personal number, right?
Hey, someone watches our show. Me and Mark was talking. Someone watches our show because too many things happen, and like stuff we say a minute later gets announced. Like constantly
Like,
it
wait a
does.
minute.
So where it's not a coincidence. It's like, okay,
Are you
somebody's
sure?
like,
Or
there's
you
somebody
speak
watching
future?
the show.
Then Tony likes my tweets now on a regular basis now. So
I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to take off. I got something going on.
Oh,
right
you're
now.
good, bro. Hey, everybody, give Cody some love in the comment section. Thank him for coming on tonight.
Yeah, thanks for
It
having
was
me.
a great run-in, bro. Hey, man, like I said, every Thursday night we do a similar show like this all the time. You're more than welcome to jump on, of course, Watch Alongs Canada. Give Cody some love, everybody, in the comments. Cody, we appreciate you coming on. It was a
Yeah,
pleasure
for sure.
talking wrestling with you tonight. You're
I'll
a great
definitely
guy.
be on again.
All right, man. Can't wait to have
You
you
guys
back
have
on.
a good one.
All right, bye, bro. Everybody, that was Cody. First time I have had a discussion with him. Loved his professional wrestling story. It's
Awesome,
great
yeah.
surprise for the night. So, man,
was-
like we need to get him vlogging.
it
Yeah.
was actually his debut on the All Elite Zone.
Yep. Oh, even better on a random
Nice.
show. I
Talk
love
about
it.
a making a splash.
Right?
Anyone in the comments liked his story, check out AZ Canada. He'll be on there starting this next Tuesday, not this week's episode, the next week. So if you like that, that's just a taste of what Canada has to bring.
yeah, like I said, we've got a lot of great programming, that's going on with both AZZ or AZ Canada. Those guys are great. A lot of fun to talk wrestling with as well. And then next, I don't know much about her, and I do apologize. I have not seen any of her stuff. So I might have Connor and everybody else take over. We had a debut from Ryan May. So Connor, I'm gonna let you take over on this one. Who is Ryan May? Give me a good little breakdown of what she is, who she is, and what she could do for AEW, and specifically for Tony Storm.
So I hate to be that person, but I don't know much about her.
And it's Mariah. It's Mariah May.
Mariah May.
Mariah May. Sorry.
But I have seen a little bit of her stuff in Stardom. She looked pretty good for some reasons. Very good in the ring, good on the mic. I think she's going to be doing something with Tony Storm because in her interview she kind of talked about Tony Storm with RJ City. So I think she's going to do something with Tony Storm and she's got the look to be in that circle with Tony. If you want to know more about Mariah May, I'm sure Mark can tell you everything about her. I don't know too much about her, but she seems pretty good so far from what I've seen.
Mark, Emily, do you know anything about her and what she?
No, she's kind of on the. She's new for me, I should say.
Yeah, I recently got into watching her several months ago. Seeing her stuff at Stardom, I saw that match with Julia that she had was insane. Yeah, she went to Stardom. I think she went like a year ago to go. She went over there, dropped everything to go to Stardom and to get better. And she went toe to toe with all of those women over there. She joined a faction. I think she became a tag champ or something like that over there. So she held gold in Stardom, which is not easy to do. So she's the real deal. They called her the Foreign Ace.
Ooh, I like that name.
Yeah, I do too. I thought that was really catchy. I love that name. That even got me like more wanting to watch her stuff. And yeah, I remember when she cut her promo at the end of her last match in Stardom. She did the whole thing in Japanese, which was freaking awesome. Like I love when
I love it.
Yeah, when they can look like that and then talk in perfect Japanese, and she had the crowd in tears and stuff because she was leaving. That's when you know that she was like the real deal over there. And she's gonna do some really good stuff in AEW. I have no doubt about that. And yeah, it looks like they might have her kind of be the Mickey James to Trish Stratus. So I kind of have her towards to Tony Storm like that, like as her little, I don't want to say minion, but somebody that's gonna kind of be like attached to her all the time and like trying to hype her up. So wouldn't be surprised if that came into play at Full Gear as well with her maybe interfering and helping Tony win that title.
Ooh.
Oh man,
Interesting.
I'm excited to see. I'm gonna go probably this weekend. I'll probably go back and watch some of her stuff then. So Miss May, we cannot wait to see what you can do for AEW. I know a lot of people are being really arrogant online about this. I've seen a few comments about her debut, but I'm like, hey, give it a couple weeks because sometimes an appearance on TV like they did last night, sometimes it's what the wrestler needs. Sometimes, of course, you need him to still a show, but I feel like give her a couple weeks, like Simon Miller says, before you make a judgment. Because I did watch his take on her debut last night, and I thought it was pretty fair. Give her 2 weeks. I'd say maybe give her a month. Let's see where she goes. Let's see if she gets kind of shuffled in with everybody else, or if she gets kind of lost in the shuffle, or maybe we'll see her be a big part of what Tony Storm's got cooking. Because remember, peeps, head up, tits out, and watch for the shoe. Still one of my favorite quotes. I wish they would put on a t-shirt, and I proudly wear it.
They'd make bank if they did.
Yeah, I bet it's already on a t-shirt. I just haven't looked hard enough, to be honest with you. All right. Well, dedicated to a great friend, as we discuss the final match of the night, dear old Chris, if you're watching, it's time for the main event. And what a banger of a main event we had last night. So last night we had Briscoe versus Jay White, and this was, if I had a dream TV match that involved one of my favorite tag team wrestlers of all time, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and my favorite faction, Bullet Club of all time. This was just mwah,
All the things.
great way to cap off the night, and it wasn't even the cap to end the night off.
Yeah. Scarf on.
So what a match we saw. There was there's Driller. They were just outdoing each other. There was 1-2 near falls. This match was golden, and I'm using that pun. I'm sorry, but have the Bullet Club, having AEW's version interfere. I got called back to a lot of the New Japan Kenny and the Bucks, or AJ Styles and Doc Gallows and Machine Gun Anderson, or Finn Balor and Bad Luck Fale, or the Gorillas. Like, the small stuff that they did as the heels on the outside was, I think this really helped the match. The match itself in the ring was just incredible. Like, this was probably the second best match of the night. If it wasn't for Joe and Keith Lee destroying and bringing the house down, this main event was like, this could have been a TV match of the year, but it kind of got overshadowed by big beefy men. What was your guys' thoughts about this main event before we talk about what happened after? Are you guys as high on it as I am? What was your thoughts going with it?
I thought the main event was really, really good. You can go back to my live reaction. And I can testify to that. Really, really good match. I thought Mark Briscoe was going to win there for a few minutes. That he was actually going to beat Jay White. Very back and forth match. On the edge of your seat kind of match. Yeah. I like those kind of matches where kick out after kick out, finisher after finisher, move after move. You don't know who's going to win. You're just ripping your hair out who you want to win. Really good match. Yeah, but between that and Swerve and Pentagon, like, it's really hard to choose. Like, every match has something to bring in this episode. But Jay White and Mark Briscoe, that was a really, really good match.
Yeah, it seriously, this was one of the highest parts of the night for sure. Mark, Emily, what did you guys think of the match? For you guys smiling from ear to ear with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, it was just it was a little bit of a surprise, like how the match was. Like, I wasn't expecting that, and I think that's what made me love it even more, was that I wasn't expecting that to be such a good match. And then kind of going back to the video package, that they did, what Mark Briscoe did was hilarious, because when he talked about the match with at Ring of Honor, he goes, he says, Jay White, he goes, I remember I wrestled you and you couldn't even grow a beard. He goes, now look at you. So I couldn't help but think about that when he was pummeling him and just telling him that, right? I could just see him telling him that in the ring while he's beating the crap out of him, you couldn't grow a beard back then. And so and then, man, they were just they were going at it, they were going toe to toe. It was like Connor said, I mean, there was times there where you thought Mark Briscoe was going to pull this one out, and the match just ended up being a banger. I wasn't expecting that. It was, and the thing that sucks is that the match got overshadowed because of what happened afterwards, right? We'll talk about, but I think enough people didn't talk about it because of what happened afterward. Everybody was talking about what happened afterwards. So that kind of overshadowed the match. But yeah.
I mean, I just feel like this is one of those Dynamites where you're like, oh, this was good. Oh, this was the best moment of the night. Oh, no, wait, this is now the best match of the night. Oh, no, wait, it just got better. I think that's why I'm riding such a high with this episode, was that the night steadily built, and each time you thought oh, this was the match of the night, it got even better. And this match kept you gripped to the very end. And it just made me love Briscoe. I just love him so much. He's such a great personality, and just I love harking back to their history, because that makes the stakes feel so much higher. And you legit knowing the history now, felt there was oh shit, he might actually win. Like, it's there's like this underdog moment where you're like, oh my gosh, like I really do want to see him win. And to be able to do that after so many already amazing matches is such a strong thing to do. I just really admirable what they put on.
Yeah, for surely. It was a great part. Now, Mark, you ready?
Yeah.
Excited? All right. Everybody in the comments, I am letting Mark loose. Mark, it's time to talk about what happened after the match, buddy. All right, Mark. I'm going to give the spotlight to everybody's favorite wrestling Mark on the show. All right, brother. It's all you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so pretty just talking about it, how this kind of overshadowed almost the whole show, right? I mean, the whole show kind of just seemed to get overshadowed by this because it was unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm all for these backstage brawling segments. I love these. I remember seeing just so many of them back in the day in the Attitude Era and that Ruthless Aggression era. There's so many good ones. And yeah, I love when they do this stuff. And oh man. So MJF, trying to come back, take the title. Just when you think that you're seeing the end of the show and what MJF is already having to deal with, they're like, oh wait, we still have this to throw on his plate. We forgot about this whole other thing that's going on.
There's this other whole feud.
Yeah, this whole other feud. And because he started building up this new relationship with the Acclaim, now he kind of feels that he's a part of or the reason why they're getting attacked, right? So now he feels some sort of empathy for them and he's worried. So now he's getting pulled into this direction, and there you see Billy Gunn getting the crap kicked out of him. You see Max Caster they throw him into the door, which did not look fun at all. And then, of course, Anthony Bowen's going through what looked like an office with no doors. Some people were saying it looked like an office with no doors. Like, what was that guy? There was a guy in there who kind of like ducked out last second. Which oh my God, I went back and seen that so many times, and I just see those 2 feet just like moving out of the way. Hilarious. But yeah, and then Cass going through that glass was a top spot. I mean, anytime you get some of those, real glass spots, those are always
words.
Yes.
Those are always like attention grabbers. I mean, those things are, and yeah, you saw the concern with Max, and it makes you buy into the story even more. Like, now what's going on? Like, now they're attacking his friends. We thought they were helping him. Now they're attacking somebody that we thought were his friends. And is this all just a ploy? I mean, is MJF really behind it? Is he, somebody that's pulling the strings, behind the scenes? I mean, so yeah, it was a really good ending segment. Like I said, it kind of almost overshadowed the whole show. And rightfully so. I mean, of course, everybody's going to talk about that. Wish we would have got another devil, another look at the devil back there. That would have been really cool. And then he just disappears, or she disappears. But yeah, that would have been my only thing just to add to that, just to put a little cherry on top. But it was a good way to end the night. That definitely got us talking. And what the heck just happened, and who are these 3 guys? Is it the Kingdom? I mean, that's the most obvious answer, right? That would have to be the most obvious one. Yeah. But I'll let you guys take it away. See what you guys thought.
Looking at it, man, like, that was a great way to end the night for sure. I was very impressed by it, surprised by it. This, like, the way that they capped it off, it just tied everything throughout the whole night together. Everything with MJF, like, I feel like everybody's out to get MJF, and whoever this devil or devils behind it are really, really pulling everything together. And they're the masterminds behind some kind of puppet. So I'm curious to see what's gonna happen with it. For sure.
Is that a CM Punk reference? Puppet.
I know.
I was even trying to reference CM Punk on that one.
That catch our attention because you're just like, Oh. It's like, I mean, Tony Khan had to have approved this, right? Like,
Yeah.
kid. The only reason he might approve it is if CM Punk, like, I don't know. The
Yeah.
wheels just keep going.
All right. As we start to wrap it up here, I'm going to go to each one of you guys. I want you guys to tell me what your favorite part of the night was. And then also I want you guys to tell me what your rank for Dynamite was, especially now that we're 2 days past the show. So I'm going to start down below. We're going to go ladies first. Emily, what was your final thoughts?
I just love the way that this Dynamite just built on its momentum, and you just left with so many, like, you just literally just talked about like all the potential directions this could go. But like, that's what's so great about it, is when you can literally have that conversation, so many ideas, so many potential ways you could slice this, and it's so not predictable. It makes it so much more fun. So I truly think this was like a masterclass in how to do like a wrestling show. Like, more of this, please, because I love it, and I'm gonna keep my Tony Storm, my girl, and her words in my heart for this week. Chin up,
Like I said, that was, yeah. Tony's been one of the best parts of AEW for sure. Mark, what about you? What was your favorite part of the night, and what was your final score for the show?
Oh man, kind of what like Emily said, it was so good. Just every match just kept on. You were thinking, man, that was awesome, and then it was like, oh man, this was awesome, and then oh, this was awesome, and it just kept going and going. I'm gonna say probably, looking back on it, the Jay Briscoe video package, like I said, just cracked me up, and then it was really good, and it was well put together, and then that last match and that whole ending, that last match with that ending was my favorite part, 9.0.
Really? That's a really good score, man.
Yeah.
Well, all right, Connor. What was your thoughts, takeaways, and what's your final score for the show?
That was a pretty good show. It didn't really have many downs to it. There's a lot more ups than downs. Kind of like what Emily said. They need more of that, like the continuity of the ending. Like, it gets you like, I got to watch next week. Like, what's gonna happen next week? Like, about this person in the mask. Who is that? I want to keep watching. I want to figure out who this is. They need more of that, like, to get you want to watch, and not just for fan. How would I say it? Fan interest. Yeah. And it makes the show even better because you want the next episode right now. Like, you watch a TV show,
Yeah.
and there's a really good ending, and you're like, I have to wait all the way next week to watch a new episode. Like, why can't we just have it now? So you're getting people eagerly to watch. My favorite moment of the night was I'm still gonna go Swerve and Pentagon. That was still my favorite match of the night. Mark Briscoe and Jay White was good, but that match was just on another level. If I was going to give it a rating, probably 7.9 out of 10.
Almost an 8. Okay.
No, I'll give it a 8. I'll give it an 8.
Okay, give it an 8. Very good. Very high scores all around tonight. Sorry, I don't know if that's my car or not. Give me just one second. But man, it was a really fun. It was a really fun night for sure. I'm going to be a little bit different because you guys all have brought great points up with the night. I'm going to go with Garcia and Max. I feel like the start of the show was great with that. And then just the match itself, you got to see the professional wrestler of Garcia this time. And I really love to see that again. And he had a little bit of his character come out with it, with the whole hip shake. And I love the spots where MJF was trying to stop it. So I really like that aspect of it. Every little bit to start the show, from the the pro backstage, the Adam Cole stuff, the Kingdom to Next Strong. It's like I said, it all tied in to the feeling of the show. And I have not seen her. That's why I wanted to do this review. Just because I was so high on everything they did around MJF. And I feel like this was what Dynamite was missing the last year. I feel like this was perfect. I think my final score, I'm going to go a little bit high on this one just because it was almost perfect for me. I'm going to go with a 9.5.
Woo! I love it.
Like I said, I've been talking about this a lot on social media again, and I feel like it inspired me to like actually not be burnt out with wrestling. This I came back off a couple week break because I was tired, and this was just chef's kiss, perfect. I cannot wait to see what happens. I'm going off what Connor said. I do not want to wait until next week because this was awesome. Going to the comment section, Davis did post down below. He says the score was an 8 out of 10. Oh, and we have another run-in for it. We have Mr. Jacobs. How you doing, Mr. J?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
We can hear you all right. Coming in loud and clear. All right. Hey, bro. So since you just joined us, what was your thoughts on Dynamite from Wednesday? And what would your final score be for Dynamite?
I mean, there were so many things that happened. I mean, I'll give you this first. My score for probably about a 9. Honestly speaking, I think it gave us everything that we wanted as wrestling fans. And I feel there's a lot of seeds being planted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that as wrestling fans, we have to sit back and watch them grow. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, Mr. Jacobs, it was a pleasure to have your thoughts towards the end. Appreciate you coming on, brother. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for our Dynamite review from 11/8/23. I want to thank you to all my panel for coming on tonight, from Mr. Jacobs to Emily to Connor to Mark and to newcomer Cody. We love everybody coming on. It was a pleasure to have everybody. Everybody in the comment section, we love you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on your Friday night and talking wrestling with us. That's going to do it for tonight. We got a few big things coming up. We got a big interview tomorrow with the corporate stooge himself. We have Brandon Cutler on the show tomorrow at 12 Central. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited myself to sit down and interview him. It's going to be a blast, and I personally cannot wait to ask him so many nerdy questions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's gonna be great. We got that going on as well. Of course, we have our watch-alongs going all the way up. Probably tonight. I think, are we doing one tonight for Rampage or?
Actually, it's on right now.
I guess we are.
Yeah. So stay tuned after we close this one out. They're gonna jump on and do a Rampage watch-along. I'm sorry for taking your guys' time a little bit longer. But this one was a fun show to do. So Rampage watch-along shortly after this one, if you're watching live on YouTube and Twitch. Like I said, Brandon Cutler is coming up tomorrow.
A very popular demand question for you.
Okay.
So people want to talk. People want to hear you talk about Chris.
I'm not gonna do that.
You're not gonna do that.
Yeah, let's not bring down the episode. I'm not sure what happened or what's going on regarding that. So that's gonna do it tonight for our Dynamite review. I want to say special thanks to everybody for watching. Stay tuned because right after this on our YouTube channel, we will be going our Rampage watch along, baby, and then we'll see you guys tomorrow. If there's nothing else left to be said, Emily, Connor, Mark, Emily, or Mr. Jacobs, and I said Emily twice. Is there anything you guys want to add before we sign off?
I think that's it. Gets the golden up.
It gets the golden up from the Miss Simon Miller of the podcast. This gets a golden up. Y'all get a golden up. AEW gets a golden up. It's been a great show. All right, everybody. Well, that's going to do it tonight for our Dynamite review. Make sure you guys check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter. We got a lot of fun stuff coming. Big end of the year coming up. So make sure you guys check out our socials, stay up to date on all of our content. Thank you guys so much for coming out for our Dynamite review. Hope you guys enjoyed our review. Hope you guys enjoyed Dynamite. Keep liking wrestling. And from all of us here at the All Elite Zone podcast, we love you and have a good night.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got